Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive Music Reactions. And this week we will take a look at Flea's Acid for Children, a book that I read in 2024, and I would like to share some of my thoughts about it. This is something. This is something else. It's real. It's raw. It's honest, and it left me with a ton of thoughts. Flea opens up about his wild childhood, his struggles, and his journey into music in such a personal, almost poetic way. And yeah, let's dive into this. I will share my thoughts about my favorite parts and try to give you an idea what this book is about. So if you have time, you can read it on your own. Before we start, if you enjoyed this content, hit the like button, subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite books related to music in general. And for all of you who want to go an extra mile, feel free to buy me a cup of coffee or to PayPal me. You have the links in the description below. So without any further ado, if you're kind of expecting a rock star memoir full of wild stories, gossip, Acid for Children isn't that. Flea doesn't sugarcoat things, but this book isn't just about rock and roll lifestyle. It's more deeper than that. And for all of you who are familiar with Flea, you probably know his um, concert stage side of personality, this wild, funky beast and a hell of a player. But if you listen to his interviews, he's so deeply troubled, mostly because of his upraising. And he opens up completely in this book, and I believe he's trying to live his best life as he can, but there's always this hole that has been revealed in this book. So I believe, even though it's a kid about his childhood years, a kid growing up in chaos, searching for meaning and finding music as a way to survive. He doesn't just tell the story, he makes you feel it, and it's simply astonishing how such a pure hearted soul managed to get through all of that, and not only to get through that, but to kind of have a very successful career and life. So, one of the things I love about this book is that it's so much more than a memoir. It's a window to his soul, really. And as you read, it's not just hearing about his career or the Chili Peppers. You're hearing about his whole journey to becoming Flea, as we know him. And uh, first off, Flea's writing style. Yeah, it's very basic. It's just like basic in the sense that it's poetic, it's intense, and at its time it feels like you're reading a stream of concussionuses. It's not traditional, which makes it feel so much more authentic. And the way he reflects on his childhood, for example, it's so vivid and raw. You can particularly feel the anger, the confusion, the pain, and as he describes this through his early years. And then when you think it's all dark, he'll drop in something so light and funny. It keeps you on your toes the whole time. And what I think what managed to kind of save Lee is just his pure heart. And I mean, it might seem like a cliche, but I think people don't change. He simply didn't have that self-destructive gene or chemistry in within himself. He always seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and he always was led by the good things with all the chaos. That's why I say that he was a pure soul, affected by all the negativity, but this negativity never took him in hostage, right? And the writing feels almost like a journal entry. He's letting us in on his most personal thoughts. And it's not polished or perfect, which in my opinion makes it much more powerful. It's like you're hearing Flea's voice in your head, and it's totally unfiltered. There are many stories about. There's one story about his, I believe, teacher who invited him for a night over, and then this guy crumbled in his bed. Flea was terrified. I mean, there are so many stories like this, but then on the other hand, you have a story when he's listening to his stepdad's jazz band for the first time, and such a pure joy stories as well. And one of the things that struck me the most in the book is how Flea talks about his childhood. His story starts in a pretty intense place. His parents and the divorce and moving a lot. First, he was born in Australia, then they moved to New York and ended up in Los Angeles. And he felt lost and out of place. He doesn't try to make excuses for his past, instead, he just lays it all out there. No judgment. His childhood was chaotic, but it shaped him to who he is today, and you can see that through this book. The way Flea writes about his mom, especially, is powerful. He has so much love and admiration for her, even though their relationship was complicated. It gives you a whole new perspective on him as a person, not just as a musician. And when speaking about his dad, who eventually moved to Australia, it was very nice to see that he visited him from time to time over the years, and there are even some pretty pictures, photographs in the book of him and his father. I believe the one picture is them fishing when Flea was already super popular and globally known. Obviously, Flea's music journey is a huge part of the book, and it's fascinating to read about. What really stands out is how music isn't just something Flea does. He escapes to this salvation, let's say. From the first experiences with playing bass to the formation of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he points out this picture of how music gave him purpose in a world that felt kind of chaotic. And to be real, and Flea was a bit a mess back then. He's the first to admit it, but there's something beautiful in how he describes his journey of self discovery through music. His passion for it just shines through the pages. There's so many stories that are quite short. I mean, he will throw in like just I don't know what's the right term, a stream of thoughts, I believe. Like he will write about a deadly serious topic, and then he will add like an anecdote, one page anecdote about him and Anthony hiking and coming up with a mountain song, or like a song that they constantly repeated while hiking with barely empty pockets, no money, just some canned food to get them survive through this um, wilderness. They decided to go for a hike, and his passion for it is just shines through the book. It also makes you appreciate his music in a whole new way. You start to understand what the energy, the craziness that heart comes from in his playing. Um, Something else that really resonated with me is how Flea talks about the ups and downs in his life. He doesn't hide the chaos, the mistakes, or the pain. But what's interesting is that even through all the wildness, he managed to find the beauty in the mess. And I was mentioning that with the light at the end of the tunnel. wherever in his relationship, his time in the band, or even his struggles with addiction, Flea finds meaning in it all. He embraces life with its good and bads. There's one lyric in Red Hot Chili Peppers song. It goes, it's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do. And he and Anthony definitely lived like this. Not everyone had the freedom to kind of choose, and many of them were didn't make it on the other side with this lifestyle. But again, he always knew when to stop. With all the depression and all the troubles that he had, he actually kind of knew where to stop and when to stop. And there's a lot of self-reflection in this book too. It's clearly that Flea has spent a lot of time trying to understand who he is and why he is in this way, let's say. He doesn't offer easy answers, but he definitely is in peace with his journey. I think this that's what makes this book so relatable. Even if you're not into music or rock and roll, you'll still find something in that speaks to you about life growth and about becoming who you're meant to be. Now we all know that Flea, as a wild, is a wild, energetic bassist. But his book, Acid for the Children, get you to see a side of him that you might not have expected. There's vulnerability that is in this book that's rare, especially in the rock star autobiographies. Flea isn't afraid to show his flaws, his insecurities, the parts of himself that don't fit rock and roll image. And honestly, that's what makes it so likable. He's real, he's raw, he's human, and you won't find many stories about the Chili Peppers or about the band itself. There are some, but it's not like he's a reflection on the band. It's a reflection on himself. So if you're a fan of Chili Peppers, I think you probably read this book, but even if you're not a fan, you're gonna love getting a deeper look at Flea's life and band's early days. Um, Even if you're, as I said, not a huge fan, I think there's something for everyone, because especially if you have like troubled past, and if you are not in peace with yourself, I think um, reading about similar experiences from someone who was raised on the street by himself. His mother cared, but she also struggled in her life, and it kind of slipped her attention what Flea was doing in the streets, and she was occupied with other stuff in her life. And yeah, basically because of this, Flea had to find a new family, and he found it in his friend Anthony and many other friends that he made at the time. So if you can relate to a troubled being a kid in a troubled marriage, or moving a lot, or having problems with depression or drugs, or just traumatized experiences as a kid, I think this will fill your heart with light, with opportunities, with like optimism. So I would definitely recommend Acid for the Children. Absolutely. Um, Regardless if you're a fan or not, this book offers a lot of insight into growing up, finding yourself, and the role of music plays, how music plays in its all. It's a wild ride, but also honest and thoughtful. I definitely came away from it with a new respect for Flea, both as a musician and as a person. So if you have not read this book yet, I left in the comments, sorry, in the description, you can find Amazon links that you can use. If you do a purchase using my affiliate link, I will earn a small commission. But if you want to support the channel in another way, again, you have my Coffee and PayPal links in the description below too. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite music books. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care and bye bye.